Alright, hello, my name, as you know, is Clay Mitchell, assistant principal here with you at C.E. Hannah. What I'm going to discuss today is my research proposal for IL 632, one of my graduate classes at Jacksonville State. It's going to be a research proposal on classroom management system and its effect on behavior and number of infractions. My focus is going to be on 5th grade male students as we move through this. Like I said, this is just going to reiterate. What I just said. This is going to look at the effects of this classroom management system on 5th grade black male students. I'm going to talk a little bit about numbers of infractions that there have been with that specific population in years past. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about what my proposal is to alleviate some of those numbers and reduce some of those numbers in 5th grade. Part of what's going to be part of my proposal that we're currently doing now with Mr. Miller, who's actually here with us today, is we've added an additional male teacher, being him, to our staff here at C.E. Hannah, and not all of his duties. He helps us with science curriculum and some of our planning. But also he's assisting us a lot with counseling, especially with a focus on our male students, specifically some of our black male students, to try to provide some extra counseling on top of what our current counselor does, and hopes to hopefully add that on top of what I'm proposing in the classroom to reduce some of those infraction numbers in 5th grade. So as I move through this, I'll mention from time to time an additional unit or additional counselor or an additional person. I'll be referring, of course, to what we're doing here at our school with Mr. Miller. This shows you a picture of part of the data for 5th grade. If you look here, this is for last school year, 2014-15. This shows you the total number of male students in our 5th grade was 182. Of those 182, the number that were black male students were 75, which you can see is 41%. And then, of course, that leaves for our non-black male students at 110 or 59%. So as of last school year, our 5th grade, the male population is not quite half black male, 41%. So that gives you an idea as we're going through this of numbers of students and how that's going to have an effect on how many classrooms are going to implement some of the things that I'm going to go over in this plan. In 2014-15, which was last year, 5th grade black male students accounted for over 50% of the total discipline in 5th grade. So discipline, just like a lot of things, of course, should match demographics. So if 41% of those students are black male students, and they're accounting for over 50% of our total discipline, then that says that there's a discrepancy, there's a problem somewhere. We want those numbers to reduce, even if they reflected the demographics, even if black male students accounted for 40% of our discipline for us. We want, of course, those numbers always to lower. So that's part of what my proposal is going to be looking at, is to lower those numbers even more. The classroom management system that we are beginning to implement, and again, as you know, we're just in the early stages of implementing this. We actually got a new assistant principal who's more advanced than I am. He's going to help to bring this even more. It's called CHAMPS. And the program, CHAMPS program, I've talked a little bit to you about this, but not a lot. It's based upon procedures, mainly in the classroom, but also throughout the school. Setting procedures with students, making sure the students not only understand the procedures, they actually have a part in setting those procedures, and then make sure we're doing those same procedures every day. It also addresses common areas such as the lobby, in and outside of the lunchroom, outside of the gym, those common areas where we have large groups of students pooled or gathered. It helps to, one of the things it does, it creates a universal language for teachers. So that if the student comes from this teacher and he hears certain things procedurally, such as voice level 0, when he moves to another student's area or to a common area, we're using that same language so that that student is hearing over and over again the same type of procedure and the same type of language. And we're going to implement it throughout the school. We're not there right now. That's one of the things we're fixing to work on. We've only introduced this just a little bit, myself and a few of the other teachers went to this training. But the goal is to eventually implement this during the school year throughout the entire school. One of the first things that we're going to do when we get this up and running with all of the classrooms is to do professional development. One of the first things I'll do is get a survey of needs. I'll get your input where do you think our area of needs are? Where do you think the biggest lack is in terms of procedures, discipline, that type of thing on here from you? And then we'll do the administration and staff. We'll bring the training that we went to in a more condensed version down to the whole faculty. We won't be able to replicate what we went to because it was from the people that actually work for this company, but we'll be able to replicate enough of it for you to get the main things that we want you to share at school. And that's like that says, we'll carry the training back to you, the entire staff. You can talk to Mr. McCall about us doing a book study. Believe it or not, the book is actually really good. It's got a lot of things in there that actually, the more you read them, they actually tie into curriculum also. So I'm hoping maybe we can get enough copies to do a faculty book study, have certain areas and certain groups of teachers take certain parts of the book and do it, and then bring it back to the whole faculty. And the minority discipline plan for the 5th grade black males, here's what I'm proposing, or here's what I'm doing in my proposal. Looking, like I said, the 5th grade black males, I'm doing a comparison of the past 3 years' data. Looking at specifically the discipline data over the past 3 years with this specific population. And of course, numbers are going to change because you have different groups of students. Each year, obviously, we have a different group of male and female students. But I'll give a gist of if the infraction numbers are really high, have they reduced any over the past couple of years, and especially, what are the numbers going to look like this year and in coming years versus before we implemented this classroom management system. And that's what I'm interested to see. I do believe if we do this correctly that there'll be a reduction in our number of infractions with all of our students, especially this specific population, if we do it correctly, and that's what I'm interested in seeing. Going to implement it this year, like I've already said. We'll check, just like I just mentioned, the disciplinary infractions several times throughout the year. I'll do checkpoints throughout the year where I'll see, I will be able to see, and I can go into our archive system and see on this date last year, how many 5th grade black male infractions did we have versus that same date this year. So not only can I check the total, I can see it throughout the year. Of course, like I just mentioned, I'll disaggregate out the 5th grade black discipline data. That's not hard to do. Our system, our student system will do that for several. It'll go back 3 years, so I can do that historically and this year. And then, like I just mentioned, I'll compare that to the same checkpoint calendar this year. And by the end of this year, as we go through those checkpoints and at the end of the year, should see, and I believe we will see a reduction in the number of disciplinary infractions. I think up to this point this year, with a little bit we've done, I haven't read the numbers, I feel pretty confident right now there is a reduction, just because I handle a lot of the discipline, but I have to run the numbers to make sure, and then I'm going to compare those in coming years to this first year. Hopefully we don't see a reduction this year and then a rise again after this. Hopefully we see at least stable, but hopefully even more of a reduction in numbers. That's the conclusion of my proposal. My proposal is pretty simple, what I'm proposing to do, but I think it'll have an impact on what I'm looking at, which is disciplinary infractions, which, as you know, studies say that, and you don't need to study to tell you this, disciplinary infraction takes out X amount of teaching time throughout the year. They've even ran the research numbers to show how many hours of teaching time you lose throughout the year. So that's my proposal. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your participation.